This is Gonzalo. I'm from Argentina, and today I'm going to talk about the south nodes in all the houses of the zodiac. Okay, so first of all, I want to say that I lowered all the prices of my readings. So if you want a solar return reading, a chart, a natal chart reading, or a tarot card readings with all the questions that you want, I lowered all the prices. So you should really take advantage of that because I think it might be interesting for you. Not only because it's just a normal reading, it's just because I combine the Vedic astrology with Western, so you get both really. So you should really take advantage of that. And thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe and like this video. So okay, we're gonna start with it. First of all, what is the south node? In my other video, I have in my English reproduction list, I have the north node for all the houses, and next one I'm probably gonna do for each sign, but for now all the houses that you have. So now I'm gonna talk about the south node. The south node is basically what you did in your past life, what you already mastered. So you came to this life to master the new house that your north node is, right? But you came with a gift or with a skill that is your south node, what you already mastered. But that is not your past life. So your past life is usually your north node. Your south node is what you already mastered. But what I'm trying to say is that you shouldn't be. Probably if you mastered it, you're really good at it, and maybe you keep doing that. But you need to go to your north node, right? So that's why I'm telling you. So you should really look up, first of all, to your north node, and then come and check out your south node, which is what you already mastered. So let's start with this. First of all, I'm gonna do the south node in the first house. So basically in the first house, the south node, depending on the sign that it's in, it basically means that, first of all, you probably feel strange. You probably feel that you don't fit in this world, that you're strange, that you're weird, that maybe you're kind of eccentric too, but like maybe that you're different from other people. You feel like you are from another world because you already mastered the. First of all, the first house is all about your physical body, right? It's how people see you. So people see you as a weird person, but you feel weird too. Like you, in your past life, you already knew who you are, but right now you don't know who you are, and you might be thinking like, okay, I'm from another planet. I don't know what is this, or maybe you don't like to live in a life like this, right? Because Kitsu, like we say in Vedic or the South Node, is what you already mastered in your past life. So it's confusion, right? So in the first house, you might feel very confused, like you don't fit in, right? But it also seems it's your physical body. The sixth house represents your health, but the first one is your physical body. So you might be like having maybe hypochondriac issues. You might feel like you're allergic to everything. Like you might be allergic, I don't know, to all kind of things. Basically, you go outside of your home, maybe you can, not an allergic reaction, but maybe you're allergic to the dust, or everything affects you with the south node in the first house. So you guys need to be aware of that, and remember, it is what it is, right? It is what you already master in your other life, and it is what it is, right? So you just have to accept it. It's not all good, it's not all bad, but usually the south node is not usually that good like the north node, right? So thank you so much for watching, guys. Now the south node in the second house. The second house is all about money, properties, real estate, the money that you can earn from your work, which is the sixth house. But basically, if you have your south node in this house, that means you have your north node in the eighth house. I have this south node, and basically in this life, maybe you get the feeling that you save a lot, you have a lot of savings, but you don't really care about the money. The thing is, with this placement, if you have south node in the second house, you don't really care about the money. Maybe you save a lot of money, but you don't really care. If you like have money, you're probably gonna left it, I don't know, at the table, and maybe forget about it, and then you're gonna save it. But like, you don't really care about the money because that is what you already mastered in your other life. Maybe you were really wealthy. That doesn't mean that you are not gonna be wealthy, but like, the thing is that thing that you already mastered, you don't really care about it, right? So you don't care about the money. You don't care if you're rich, if you're poor. You don't care about that. You only care about your feelings, about basically about your feelings, because the second house is ruled by Venus, Taurus, and but not really about wealth. You don't really care about that. If you get wealth, you will be glad, but like not so excited about it. This kind of placement is like those people who are rich but they live in a small house because they don't really care to have a huge house, or not even to have cars. And what I've seen with this placement too is that these people don't know how to drive. I don't know why, and I can relate to that too. So yeah, basically that is, guys, and it's great to not to care about money, but you need to be aware, because maybe you are wealthy, but like you should not care about the money, right? Because that is not your path life. Your path life is the eighth one. That's why you need to watch and the North Node one, a video that I have in my English playlist. So thank you guys so much for watching. The South Node in the third house. This is the house of Gemini. Mercury is ruling this house. So basically, depending on the sign that your South Node is, you already mastered your communication skills. So if you have your South Node in this house, you may not talk much, basically. So these people basically are very quiet. They don't know how to speak, and it's not a bad thing. It's just that it's just in your past life. Blah. My Mars and Virgo in the first house, it's driving me nuts right now. So basically, in your past life, you already learned the skill of speaking. Maybe in your past life you were a Gemini, you were very talkative, but in this one, you don't speak, basically. I have friends with this placement and they don't say anything, but it's okay, because it's not this path life, but they already mastered that skill, so they don't really need to do it in this life. So you don't need to worry about that, okay? Because you already mastered your skill. Also, with this placement, you may feel like at school or at college, you may don't like to study. Maybe you are a slow learner, like Saturn also in the third house. It's kind of the same, like having your South Node, because these people may be slow learners, which is totally fine. You just have to accept it. But if you're a slow learner with this placement, you need to be aware that maybe in 10 years you will remember what you already studied. And some people do not remember anything, right? So you have a great memory. It may cost you to get to that place, but it will be worth it. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you could relate to this one. The South Node in the fourth house. The fourth house, what it represents? It represents the mother, your home, basically. So basically, if you have this placement, I'm gonna sound really direct with this one, like I do in my ratings. You may not feel like very nurtured by your mother. Also, if you have this placement, your mother may not be around a lot, or maybe unfortunately she passed away, because the fourth house represents the mother. Maybe you feel like you're changing your home a lot, or in your childhood you had a really bad childhood, because the South Node is what you already mastered. So maybe in your past life you had a great relationship with your mother, you have like a great home, a very happy home, you didn't change that much. But if you have this placement, you already mastered that. So in this life, you may like have difficulty with that, difficulty with your mother, difficulty with your home, So yeah, all those kind of things. But you don't need to worry about that, because in this life, you already mastered that. So you don't need to worry about that. You need to worry about your North Node, which is your path life, okay? So I have the North Node videos in all the houses in my English playlist. So if you didn't check that out, you should too, so you will understand both. But basically, that is your South Node in the fourth house. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Your South Node in the fifth house of Leo, So the sun is ruling this house. So basically, if you already like have your South Node in this one, you may feel like in this lifetime you may not like children. Basically, you don't like to be around them. It's not like you like dislike children, but maybe you just don't like to be around them. They annoy you. They annoy you, basically. So sorry, today I'm like speaking very quickly, and since I'm from Argentina and English is not my like principal language, I'm kind of like this, right? So basically, if you have also your South Node in the fifth house, that means that romance, may not be a part of you, may be something that it does not interest you. Maybe if you're a Cancer, yeah, it might. But like if you have this South Node, children, romance, creativity is not gonna be for you. But it's not something bad, because this is the placement that you were born with on this life, right? So maybe all of that you may feel confused, or you may not like that, but you need to go to your North Node, which is your past life. You will be happy with your North Node. The South Node is why you already mastered that skill, right? So basically, also if you want to have these children now, if you want to have children, it's not really recommended with this placement, because you already mastered this kid. Maybe this South Node, right, placement, because maybe in your past life you had a lot of kids, right? You have many children, and so yeah, basically that could be a warning to not have in this life. But if you do have, you may have complication with your children, not necessarily as regards their health, but maybe you may fight a lot with them, a really bad relationship with them. And also romance, it might be really difficult to you to be very romantic, or you don't may not like those kind of things, right? So basically that is your South Node in the 5th house. Thank you so much for watching, guys. South Node on the 6th house. The 6th house is your day-to-day routine and your health. So people who have this house, I'm gonna be direct because I combine usually Vedic astrology with Western astrology, and I always also in my readings I'm very direct. People who have this placement usually have complications with health. They have a lot of health issues. They may, in 6th house represent accidents, depending on the planets that they have. If you have the Sun or Venus here, they are good planets for your health. But with South Node on this house, you may have complications with your health. It depends on the sign, right? It depends on the sign, the kind of complications that you will have. If you tell me that you have your South Node in Cancer, you will have stomach diseases or illnesses. If you tell me that it's in Gemini, well, you're gonna have a very nervous nature to you. Maybe you have anxiety or panic attacks. It depends on the sign. So basically, that is. And you know that each sign rules a part of the body. So if you're, like I said, Cancer the stomach, Gemini the hands, so you may have like accident with your hands. But these placements come these kind of things. But also with your work related, you may not like to work, you may not like the daily routine. You may change your routine a lot because it bores you. Like I said, it depends on the sign, but it's not a really good placement for the South Node, but it is the South Node you were born with, right? So we cannot complain about that. And it's not all bad for you guys, because I mean the South Node generally is bad. It's a skill that you already mastered. So in the past life you were really healthy, you had a routine that you really liked, but in this life you may not like that kind of stuff. And I'm saying health because the 6th house represents health, okay? But if Ketu is in Pisces, which is his sign, you may not have all this kind of stuff, okay? Just for you to be aware of that, but you need to look at your whole chart to be sure of that. So if you want to book a reading with me, like I told you, I have it down below, and at the beginning I explain how I do my readings, and it's a lower price now. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you have your South Node in the 7th house, unfortunately in this life for you, you may not have a lot of relationships, basically. So if you crave for relationships, so this is the thing. In your past life, you had plenty of relationships, which is great. And which is different having your North Node in the 7th. That means you're gonna have a lot of relationships in this life. But if you have your South Node on this house, you already mastered that skill. So you don't need to have any relationships. And maybe when you are in a relationship, something will happen to break it. Unfortunately for these people, the South Node is not always bad, but it shows you something that you cannot do in this life. So you cannot have partners on this life, and it's really difficult, because a person needs another person, because we all have needs. But for you, basically, you won't be able to have a relationship. And if you are in a relationship, unfortunately, I always combine Vedic with Western, and every time that I see displacement in a person, depending on the sign and depending on all the planets in the 7th house, unfortunately, they usually end up breaking up with their partners. Something happens, always something happens to break up the relationship, unfortunately. It is what it is with displacement. Yeah, basically, it basically means that. But yeah, if you have displacement, you will understand me. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you have your South Node in the 8th house, well, the 8th house, it represents death and regeneration, reincarnation, sorry. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna die. I'm just saying what it represents because it's ruled by the sign of Scorpio, right? This house. And it also represents inheritances. So we South Node in this house, maybe in your past life, you had like good inheritances. In this, basically what it means, I'm gonna be direct with this placement. You may not have a lot of inheritances, but it may interest you. So you may be like not really caught up like in how I want all the inheritance, but you may like that. You may like that subject, and you may think, okay, I'm gonna get that inheritances, but you may not get it, or you may not get as much as you want, right? Also, what it represents, the 6th house and the 8th house represent accidents, so you may have some accidents, core issues. It depends on the sign that is the South Node, and depends also on the planets that you have it there. So if you have your South Node on the 8th house, I will recommend you to have a reading. If you want, I'm not saying with me, with everyone you want or with anyone that you want, but I always combine Vedic with Western. That's why I'm very direct in my readings. So I tell how it is, and I'm not telling like, okay, I'm awesome. No, I also have some bad placement. So you can imagine. But basically, your South Node in the 8th house, it means that on this life you will reincarnate in something. Okay, so it's gonna be a life challenge experience going on with the South Node in the 8th house. You may feel that at some point in your life that you will reincarnate in something, but it will like be, if you have your South Node in Scorpio in this house, it's gonna be like sudden change, or something will happen, right? Depending on the planets also that you have it there. So you need to be aware of that. But I mean, the South Node for all the houses is not something good because it's something that you already mastered and you don't need to do it in this life, okay? So thank you. But if you have it in this house, something positive is that you have your North Node in the 2nd house. So basically, you're going in this life, you may be really wealthy, and if you're not yet, you're gonna be, because the 2nd house and having your North Node there, you're gonna be very wealthy. If you're not, you're gonna have a job that will make you wealthy. So just for you to be aware of that. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have your South Node in the 9th house, well, you already mastered the skill of higher learning. It represents higher learning, traveling a lot, meeting foreign countries, foreign people. In your past life, you already met all of that. You already learned what you have to learn, and you brought all of that on this life. But your South Node is something that you don't have to do on this life. So if you're really doing like, I don't know, if you're traveling a lot to another country, it doesn't necessarily mean another country. It can be like just a province of your country, right? It doesn't need to be that far. But usually with the 9th house, it means that it's a really far travel. In the 3rd house, it's just a short one, right? So basically with this placement, it means that you may feel like you don't learn as much as you want or as fast as you want because you already mastered that skill, or you may not be interested in learning, right? That must be it, right? But this placement, since it's respecting the 3rd house, it's a really good placement because you really will develop the skill of learning in this life. So you may not be interested in, it may like cost you a lot, but you will be very successful because Rahu or the North Node, you have it on the 3rd house. I always combine Vedic with Western, so you need to be aware of that. it is a really good placement for the South Node, I must say, but you need to be aware of that. You may not travel a lot. You may be not interested in traveling. That might be it, basically. Or maybe from your childhood and until now you didn't travel to anywhere, basically, which is totally fine. It's something that you were born with, right? So basically that is for this placement, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have your South Node in the 10th house, the 10th house is the house ruled by Capricorn and Saturn. So basically in this house, you may not feel like working, basically, because this is a house of your work, of your success. You might have been very successful in your past life, and now on, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not gonna be successful. It just means that it's not a path for you because you already mastered that. And if you're going into that, if you want to be successful, but I don't think you will want to do that, because when South Node in this placement, usually people are not interested in to be successful. They are in their own world, you know. They don't really care about being successful, about getting a diploma, you know. They just are in the world, like, doing their thing, right? They don't really care about anything else, which is totally fine, because that is your life path. Okay, this is a skill that you already mastered. So in your past life, you were really successful with this placement. If you have it in the, it's a really weird placement to have yourself now in the 10th house, but it's really good too, because you are the kind of person who don't really care about success. You're really very chill, you know, kind of hippie, not hippie in looking hippie, but kind of like in your world, doing whatever you want and everything. But it is a really good placement to have, really. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have your South Node in the 11th house, the 11th house is ruled by Uranus, Aquarius, and also Saturn, because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and Saturn. Okay, so basically with this placement, you may feel like you don't have any friends, basically. Yeah, because this is a house of friendships, organizations, so maybe you feel like if you are going into an interview for a job, you may feel like they won't hire you. I don't know why. Maybe you have a really outgoing personality, blah, 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 but they won't hire you because you already mastered that skill. You had a great job, you had great friendships, but in this life, that's not how it's supposed to be, because you already mastered that. So you may feel, if you have your South Node in the 11th house and you know it, you will feel, maybe you don't have any friends, which is totally fine. That is not your path for your life. To know your path, already told you to go to the my English reproduction list, which is called Gonzalo, and you check it out. You North Node, I have that video in English for you to check it out. What is your path like? But in this life, you may not have any friends, really. No friends, not really work, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not gonna be successful. It's something that you already mastered. You mastered the art of friendships. You mastered the art of working. So maybe you might be kind of lazy, but you don't really care about having friends. But people may not be like, or you may be kind of detached from people also, because that's a thing going on, to not to have friends. But basically, when I see people with this placement, you have to look at the planets also in the 11th house. They don't have much friends, which is totally fine, because they are following the thing that they don't have to do, right? So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have your South Node in the 12th house, this is the best placement for the South Node, or Keto, like we call it in Vedic. I always combine both. This placement shows, if you have it, shows healers depending on the sign. If you have it in Pisces, which is its own sign for the South Node, it's great because you might be a healer, you might be interested in healing people, not necessarily mean doctors and anything like that, but people, you may like to do Reiki if you're like an Indian person, or to do some kind of healing, maybe massages, you know, or anything to do with healing. You are a very kind person. From what I've actually seen with people with this placement, these people have amazing skills to heal. This is the best placement for the South Node. So if you were born with this one, you need to be aware that you can be a healer. You can be a healer with this placement. But since it's a skill that you already mastered, and this is the house of Pisces, ruled by Neptune, you may feel like your subconscious maybe it's not working, okay? Maybe you're the kind of person who is very practical, who doesn't fantasize about anything. You're a very practical person. You might be kind of emotional, but with this placement, you may not have any feelings. You may not have a subconscious mind. You may not fantasize about anything. You may have problems with, I'm pointing this out because my bed is here, so you may have problems with sleeping basically. So, and not we basically when you sleep you don't have like any meaningful dreams because you already mastered that skill, okay? But with these placements, this is the best placement for it, for the sub node. You can be a healer. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm offering readings, solar return readings from this year to another one, all the energies that you will have with your health, also tarot card readings, and also chart readings with all the questions that you want. I've lowered all the prices of the readings, so you should really take advantage of that, guys. And I always combine Vedic with Western astrology, and I can be very, not harsh, but like very direct with what I say. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you guys in the next video.